captured again!
You should be used to it by now, Cobra Commander.
Maybe that's why I have something up my sleeve. Alley Vipers, attack!
Not so fast, Chrome Dome. These guys aren't exactly stealthy.
Orange Distro.
My dear Cobra Commander, you said, and I quote, give them pizzazz.
Shit.
And you can come out too, Storm Shadow.
Damn. Now it's my time to shine.
Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today, let's take a look at the Hasbro G.I.Joe Classified Series Alley Viper and B.A.T. And with time as it is right now, I can't remember if these were supposed to come out now, or in the summer, or when I even pre-ordered them, but I got these two from Amazon. This being a troop builder, I've got them on pre-order at a couple of places, and I'm still waiting for those, but Amazon won this time around. And it's weird the timing here because Spirit and the new Storm Shadow is also shipping right now from Dorkside Toys. So it's gonna be a G.I. Joe January. G.I. January. Looking at the package, it's exactly what we're used to with this line. The big window showing you what you get in the package. Warning right here on the front because you don't want kids missing it. Choking hazard, small parts. Don't put them in your mouth. Individual artwork from unique artists for each character in the line. On the side, you can see more of that art. The Alley Viper working down to some troops at the bottom. And then the B.A.T. Oh, I wish the figure's head came apart like that. Have wires all sticking out and everything. On the back, the artwork we've been seeing since the inception of the line. They've just been adding to it as characters release. Although the Alley Vipers have always been on there. And am I missing the B.A.T.s? Are they hiding somewhere?
Yeah, in this package.
On the other side, the classified version of the old file cards, you just get icons and then ranks around them. Oh, sweet. Oh, well, besides my phone dying, the Alley Viper and the B.A.T. have their own entries on the site, so you can just click on it. That's Foot Soldier 2, Shield 2, Vanguard 3, and Urban Combat 3. And then for the B.A.T., it is Environmental Specialist. They misspelled environmental. Energy Weapons 2, Hand-to-Hand Combat 2, Siegecraft 2. On the top, the same numbers, a little bit of window Cobra symbols. On the bottom, legalese, barcodes, but, oh man, this is a hard choice. Let's go for the Alley Viper first. Look how much gear comes with this figure. And really, just a good-looking action figure. Yes, there's some garish orange, there's some blue splotches, there's some cartoon comic book elements, but man, just look at that. The thing about the G.I. Joe line is that even with reuse, everything looks so unique, so individual. Like here, the legs are reused from Duke and several other characters. The crotch, the upper legs, the lower legs, the boots behind the kick pads. But they changed those up and the knee pads, and it stays in the same universe. It changes it up enough to make it not so apparent. Then the leg gear, the holster on this side and the straps and the, I guess, extra ammo or pouches or whatever this is, those are reused from Beachhead. Get to the upper body and it's not as easy to pick out. I thought at first that it may have been Duke's arms, but the wrinkles are different. And then of course the sleeve stops on Duke. And again, another reason I thought it was reuse, it stops right here too, but it's not the same wrinkles, and then they've added sculpt to the lower arm. Am I missing something? Is this somebody else's arms? The hands we've seen several times with kind of knuckle duster look, and then trigger fingers on both left and right. The overlay is tight, and it's hard to get a peek at what's under there. Again, with a newly sculpted overlay, it just changes everything. It's got kind of that Firefly flap hanging down over the crotch, has some pouches, or well, a lot of pouches actually. He probably keeps his extra CDs, cassettes, if we want to go 80s with it. Knife sheath, whatever these are going up over the shoulder. On the back, pretty plain, pretty simple. Got some seam lines, but I like this offset blue. And in fact, I like all the blue here. It's very asymmetrical, which becomes a problem right here, at least for me, because I want desperately to line up this blue with this blue. But if you do that, the legs don't actually line up, and it still doesn't match up in the back. I think it is purposely painted that way to have a kick over, because it doesn't continue on here, and this is just randomly diagonal, and this comes around and stops. And the same here, just across the front, and then up through here, and then it's like a crazy game of Tetris happening on his uniform. They even added a little on the back on the left arm. Maybe the right, this, oh wait, that isn't a separate piece. I thought that was a strap of some kind. That has to be a unique arm, right, with that sculpted on? There's also a little blue here, a little black here, but as usual, the backs aren't as painted. It doesn't have as much application as the front. But look at the head. Oh, I love that they went to a photoreal situation. Even when it's just eyeballs poking out from a mask of some kind, it adds a layer of realism. This one does kind of side-eye to the right, which is okay because, like most reuses of Duke, it's a lefty with the up and down on this hand. So he'll be able to cross over a bit when he's holding a rifle and look just slightly that way. It's not as bad as, you know, other toy lines we've seen lately. It's just a slight right. I'm gonna have to get some more and see if that's a common thing. And I know it's the Alley Viper design, but I love these fangs sticking up, almost like a snake coming up over the head. It's a subtle little thing, but it makes him unmistakably Cobra, besides the Cobra logo. Oh, I forgot to point out these carabiners down here, or whatever these are. A little extra paint, a little extra TLC that I can appreciate. I've been down on the drop down hips for a while now because of the fragility it brings to the overall feel, and this, they're connected together. Here, I didn't have a problem because I'm feeling the snaps as it comes up, like it's actually traveling on the ball instead of twisting that pin in there. So I didn't have to shock oil this. It's like this right out of the package. But another common problem that we've been getting are the kick pads either glued, crooked, or something. It happens more often than not. It just makes it feel odd, like his legs are kicking out, but it's actually the kick, well, it looks right here, but it looks kind of away from the buckle on this side. It's the same thing we've always had with Duke. He has just an odd angle down here, like it's off to the side or something. It messes with my brain a little bit. Going over articulation, there is a hinge at the top of the neck with a ball going up into the head. It seems to be a ball down at the bottom, so altogether, can look up, look down, get some tilt, mostly at the bottom. I was about to say, what the hell are these pegs? But we'll get to that in accessories. It's poking me in the fingers. Swivel, have a butterfly joint, goes back, goes forward, swivels all the way around, hinges out to 90. Swivel at the bicep, nicely hidden by this sculpted on pouch strap. Double elbow comes up to about right there. Swivel at the wrist, hinges in and out on the right, up and down on the left. I'm sure there's a hinge mid-torso, but because of the tightness of the overlay, it just doesn't happen. But there's also a ball at the waist that gets you a little bit of movement. Like I said, leg drops down, ball at the hip comes forward, goes back, out, swivel at the thigh, double knee, boom, swivel at the boot, hinge at the ankle, goes back, forward facing pin for rocker. For accessories, where do we start? Let's go with the pistol that is reused from Duke. We've seen this a couple of times in the line, but it totally works. Push and twist. If you don't want him holding the pistol, and you'll probably want to store this because of all the other weapons he could be holding, goes into the holster very nicely. Comes with two identical knives with little hoops there on the back. The grips are thick enough to be secure in the hands. They're not going to fall out. But another thing about Classified series is weapon storage on the figure. And there's this holster or sheath right here on the chest. And there's one on the right forearm that is very, very tight. That is a separate piece if you want to turn it around or put it on this side, whatever you want to do. There's this crazy grappling hook gun with a scope on top and a grappling hook. And oh wait, you know what that's for? I was gonna say there's more hoops, but I'm sure on this one, shouldn't there be a rope or a string or something between it? Also, the hole in the barrel, very tight. That's as far as I'm gonna push it. I don't want to get it too far in there, and that's still secure. There's this rifle, very cool looking, adds some realism to it. I know that was a gripe early on with the line. It's in black instead of, you know, could have been orange to match this. Reload it. There's also this gun, which I think is more vintage inspired. This is removable too. There is the proton pack, and I only say that because this, doesn't that look like Ghostbusters? Or a film reel of some kind. There's the Cobra logo and grenades and pouches hanging off the bottom here. Looks like extra ammo and another pouch on this side. On this side, I'm not sure what this is. But there's no holes or tabs or anything to hold the weapons, which is odd to me because that seems to be a staple in this line too, especially with the backpacks. This shield is amazing. The color scheme matches the figure, Cobra emblazoned right there on the front, but it's the inside that I like even more for some reason. Have the rivet work and everything on the inside, have this viewfinder so you can stay behind the shield in case you don't want to be exposed to the enemy. And then the strap piece that goes over the arm but rotates, so no matter where you have him positioned, you can have the shield covering as much as possible. I would recommend pulling the hand out and then sliding it over there because it is a very, very, very tight fit. You can have it to the side. If he's got his arm up, it rotates. So, yeah. And finally, there is this face shield with holes on the side, and that's what the pegs on the side of the head are for. This adds a little bit more protection when he's out there fighting G.I. Joe. And you can also, because, I mean, it's almost a shame to cover those eyes up, isn't it? You know what? I've never realized that. There's the top fangs. Bottom fang, top fang, snake head, closing over the face. Oh. Then there is the Bat, and like I said, I'm a sucker for robot parts. I've been excited for this figure, even though I don't think I ever had a Bat back in the day. This is my first Bat. I love it. I haven't even got it out of the tray yet. Oh, and definitely lives up to expectations. I have some nitpicks and I have some fixing to do. We'll get to that here in a second, but overall, I'm going to need more of these. One of the few figures that doesn't have a torso overlay, so everything is exposed. Looking at the sculpt, I'm not sure if there's any reuse. There's obvious new parts like the arm with the robot parts, the chest with this exposed engineering. But on things like the pants, where it's, you know, textured and it has seam lines and wrinkles, I can't seem to match this up with any other figure. But they've still done a good job of making this feel right at home with the other characters. The boots got to be new too, with this metal band around here, kind of 60s 70s feeling, and then this piece of metal going up over the top. And then of course we need pouches everywhere all the time. Maybe this is extra batteries or earbuds. Have this strap around the leg. It's kind of techno looking. And then they leaned right into the left-handedness with the holster on the left side, even though both hands are hinged in and out. So there's not an obvious right or left, except for, you know, the holster. Little silver paint to the buckle, this buckle down here. There is some exposed wiring and stuff up here at the top where the backpack plugs in, and a access panel. On the front has some kind of grenades, and here's where the color went. You know, the exposed chest. You have some yellows, some reds, some green. The closer you look, the more you see like techno detail. There's circuit board looking stuff going on. And again with the asymmetry. I love that in this line. It's kind of realistic. We get too many figures that are just, you know, same on both sides. This adds a little flavor. Yellow Cobra logo on the left side, not on the right. Hey, I'm good with that. Also some silver paint down here around the collar and on the faceplate, along with these vents or whatever on the side, and these outlet something here on the back. It's very stormtrooperish, and I hate to say that. You knew I was going to go there at some point. But my favorite parts are the robot arms. Just look at that. It has some piston look to it. If you wanted to cover this in some kind of plastic or something, you could get away with going down the street and nobody would say anything. But then, whoosh, Terminator. It just fits the design beautifully. Well, okay, that looks straight. As soon as you bend the elbow, it looks off, but it also has this kind of fake piston thing happening back here. And even though when you go all the way up, it looks like it detaches completely, it's a robot, you know? It doesn't have to look like actual human anatomy. And I mentioned no overlay on this torso, and I hate to say it, but proportion-wise, he almost looks skinny. Maybe I'm used to seeing the thicker torsos because of the stuff laying on top of it. But at the same time, again, it's a robot. It doesn't have to have exact human anatomy. The legs don't seem to want to go all the way straight. It always has this kick forward. Maybe that's just part of the design. Again, robot. Unfortunately, I did run into the too tight hip balls here. It just wants to turn the pin, not actually rotate on the ball, so you get a snap back. You don't want to force that. What you want to do is open that up and then put some shock oil right there. Just a dab. You don't want to put too much. You want to work it in and out first. You don't want to go straight to turning forward and back. Around in there, and then you want to move forward. And there you go. I can feel the snaps now, and there's not any snap back. Now that I'm wrenching it all around and, you know, the legs move, this belt isn't my favorite because it keeps getting on top of the crotch cover back here, and it's kind of a pain in the ass to bring back down because it snags hard. Okay, I'm coming back around and re-recording this part because in the Storm Shadow, Spirit, and Cobra Officer review, I commented about the Bat not having a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck, when in fact it does. Dumbbell top, ball at the bottom. Some up, some down, tilt, mostly down there. Swivel, got a butterfly joint. Yeah, I hadn't moved that yet, so there's a snap when you get it out of the package. Back, there's forward. Pin on the outside of that swivels all the way around. Hinge up to 90. Rotation at the bicep. Double elbow, boom, can touch his own shoulder. Swivel at the wrist, hinge in and out. Hinge mid-torso gets you to there. Ball at the waist gets you a little bit further. Arc back, some tilt, some tilt. Huge drop down at the leg, and then, now that he's lubed up, you can rotate up to there on the ball. Back, out. Ooh, better than Spider-Man. Swivel at the thigh, hidden behind that strap. Double knee. Oh, this is definitely going all the way. Oh, well, most of the way. Swivel at the boot. Hinge at the ankle goes back, forward. Forward-facing pin for rocker. For accessories, there is this cover piece. I think the vintage figure was just exposed, but if you don't care for that, you can plug that on. Oh, nice snap. not coming off. They could have left it right there, but they also added in a battle damaged version, which, again, if you have several of these, you can change up the look across the board. Because with the battle damaged chest, you can also pop off the head and pop on the alternate helmet. Gotta get, oh no. Come back. And that'll add to the battle damageness. Battle damageness. Got some cracks in the visor, eye poking through. Ooh, that just fits with the rest of the robot parts. And then you can pop the hand out, and there's different attachments for that. There is the fire hose, or rocket, or something. I'm not quite sure what this is, but it looks menacing. There is the flamethrower. I wish there was a fire effect. That would have been awesome, but hey, that's just me asking for extras when we've got a lot of extras already. And then there is the claw. It doesn't have a pin or anything. It doesn't open or close, but it still looks like you wouldn't want this reaching across the table at you. And then if you want to, you can swap out the left too with anything you want to add to it. Look at that, double whammy. If you want to leave the hand there because it does have a trigger finger, you can have him holding the pistol, or it also holsters. Oh, that is super tight. Oh, there we go. Okay. Just takes a little pushing. Finally, there is the backpack. Again, some exposed parts that could use some color, but at the same time, it's the backpack. There's these two tanks on the side, maybe some battery, some coolant, some something. And then this side is useful. We'll get to that. Oh, and goes mostly snug against the back. Plug that there. Then there's also, well, can you see that? There's pinholes in there too. That there. And since I'm going to leave the claw on, I guess you can pin the hand back here too. Oh, yep. You can. So besides the alternate chest piece and head, you can store everything on the figure. Size-wise, the Bat stands at about 6 7/16 up to the ridge of his helmet. And then the Alley Viper stands at about 6 3/8 with that attachment faceplate thing up on top, which fits right in with other Cobra troops like the Viper with the Gridiron Studios rocket launcher and rockets, and then the classified Cobra Trooper. And like I said earlier several times, the classified line is just so uniform. They look so good together. They just fit. Even with the larger and smaller characters like Roadblock and yep, I'm using the movie Scarlet as my classified Scarlet. But if you're nitpicky about that kind of thing, the regular classified Scarlet works too. And for an idea of how they fit with other Hasbro lines, here's the Star Wars Black Series version 1 Stormtrooper and the Marvel Legends comic book Black Panther. And I know this is the same body, but I wanted to see Trooper by Trooper. And besides getting a few more of these for my classified collection, I may need more on top of that for some more Reaver fodder. So at the end of the day, the Cobra army grows, and I can't complain about that, especially when the figures are this damn fantastic. Both of them bring different things to the table, but it's the same side of the table. Does that make any sense? The orange and blues don't make any sense for what they say an Alley Viper is, but it works. Somehow, it just works. Especially in a group that has a dude in a metal mask and, well, another dude in a metal mask. It makes sense, right? About as much sense as a robotic trooper that is, when you think about it, it's very scary. I said Terminator earlier, and that's essentially what it is, you know? It's just gonna keep a-coming until you break it down enough to where it's not gonna keep a-coming. But it's not only the looks. Hasbro has done a fantastic job in articulating these, getting the details in there, getting the colors on top of it. They're silly, but they're intimidating, and it comes across in action figure form. But now that the Cobra troops are growing and building and just all kinds of fodder for G.I. Joe to take out, we need some good guy grunts, right? We need some green shirts or something to back up the G.I. Joe specialists. That's my favorite thing about G.I. Joe is the specialists, and that's obviously why it's so popular. But even they need backup sometimes. After Hasbro has redeemed themselves, I'm here for it. They can still do wrong. I was gonna say, oh, Hasbro can do no wrong. They can still screw it up, but I'm having a hard time picturing that at this point. So if you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus. If you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. Wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. So I'm gonna get me some more of these. And you think about it, Hasbro, getting some uniforms out there, just some privates, some, not privates, some army builders for the Joe team. Keep your privates to yourself.